the 9th of July, and again I started doing a bit of work on this tree, and I decided to stop because I feel I should show you how I'm going to tackle this project. Unfortunately, this is not going to be a simple project. I reckon this tree is going to take me the best part of maybe 20 sessions, maybe even 30 sessions. Could take me a month to complete. That's why I was reluctant to video it, but I will video it in stages. What I've done so far is to prune all the new candles. All the dead has been taken out, and I'm going to rewire everything. This tree, the history of this tree is supposed to be nearly 100 years old. If you come closer, you will see the size of the trunk. Look at how thick this trunk is. It is absolutely massive. It's a Japanese 5-needle pine, and I imported it from Japan in 2007, and then it's been grown quite well. I rewired it once, but I've got to rewire it again. But as you can see, I've got to rewire every now and then. So having done it about 10 or 11 years ago, it's not too long because this tree has to be rewired every now and then. So I'm going to take you through the process gradually. Okay, thanks. So I just show you the growth. You see how vigorous the growth is. So I didn't pinch the candles. I wanted the thing to grow so that it makes the tree strong. And now I will selectively prune these branches. For instance, that one, if you look at that, I've got a fork here and there. So I can safely take the entire bit out from there and just leave this there. So I've got to go through the entire tree and selectively prune to get the bud back in the right place. So there are no levels in the tree, but there are distinct branches. So if we look at the distinct branches and then wire the branches into the pads, I should be able to get quite a good shape. But you can see the size of that trunk. It's an absolutely massive, massive trunk. So here's to many happy hours of working on this tree. So 2 hours of work. Let me show you what I've achieved in 2 hours. This is a very, very tricky tree. And as I warned you, this could take me almost a month to complete. I know it's not against the white background, but you can still see the outline. I will just go close, show you how healthy this tree is. Look at all those beautiful, beautiful shoots. I've left them to grow strong so that the tree can stand up to all the wiring, but I'm now going to do something to it. Of course, let me show you what I've done. If you look at the tree from this side, the left-hand side I've done nothing. I've done nothing. But the right-hand side, I've been wiring the pads here so that this pad, you can see that big branch. See this branch, I've now wired. I use aluminium wire. I don't like using copper wire because I'm not so good at using copper, but you can see how I've layered this. Next time I'll show it against the white background. You will appreciate the difference. Can you see the right-hand side compared with the left-hand side, which is not done? So this is what I've done so far. I've wired it. And to get all these other branches out of the way, I've tied these other branches in a bundle so it doesn't interfere with what I'm doing over here. So these will have to be wired. So this whole tree is going to be wired. Again, all these wires are just to tie the bundles of these hanging branches so that it doesn't interfere with what I'm doing on this side. So there you go. I've got so far. You can see the work that I've done, and there's lots more to do. This is a mighty great big tree. So it's going to take a lot of time, I promise you. There you go. So this is 2 days later. I started working on this big Japanese white pine on the right-hand side on Sunday morning, and I did a couple of hours work. I'll show you what I've done. And this, as I said, is going to take me about 3-4 sessions to complete. So you can see the size of that tree. It's a pretty massive tree. And if we look at it closely, you see the pad on the right hand side, that was pruned. This was pruned back on Sunday, and I wired some of the branches too. So this has been done. The entire left side and the top has still to be done. The back has still got to be done. But what I want to talk about now is, what do I do with these long shoots? You can see all these long shoots. And this is quite a common thing that you will encounter. So you must be wondering why I leave these shoots. Why didn't I prune the candles off when they were just emerging? There is good reason for what I do, and I didn't prune it because if you leave it long, I always tell people that it strengthens the tree. So this bit here was last year's candle, which has become a 2 or 3 inch long branch, and these 4 here, those 3 plus that one is 4, were this year's candles, and that has grown at least 2 to 3 inches long, the top one, and the side ones have grown about 2 inches. I've left them to grow. Now, what do I do with them? I can easily cut off the new growth like that, but because I want to retain the shape as well, what I'm going to do in this situation, I'm going to prune all that off. It's very hard. I'm holding the camera in my left hand and going to cut with my scissors in my right hand. So that's what I'm going to prune off. Can you see? I'm going to make the cut now. So I left these 2 shoots to grow. If I don't want it to grow too long, I can still cut off half the new candles which have emerged. So that will keep that short. So all these hundreds and hundreds of new shoots, I'm going to look at it critically and do the pruning that way. Now another example is this one. Let's look at this one. So this one here, this bit here was last year's candle which is emerged. It's become like 3 inches long, and this a bunch of 3 shoots. You can see there are 3 shoots. They were the candles from this year, and I don't want those because I've got a bud here, so I'm going to prune that off, leaving a small side shoot to grow there. So this is how I would analyze the tree and go about pruning it. So can you see that huge tree? That trunk, by the way, is every bit 10-12 inches in diameter. You see the size of that trunk. That's 8-inch scissors, so that is at least 10-12 inches across at the base. So this, I've got my work cut out. I'm going to prune them and then do the wiring. Now let me walk to another area because there are a lot of pines to do. There's that great big one as well. Look at that. That's got to be done. I don't want to wire them. I think just by pruning you can control the growth. So it's now 6:30 in the evening. The staff have gone home, and when the staff go home, I start doing my bonsai. I sit in the office doing the administration during the daytime, and in the evening I spend my time pruning some bonsai, and later on I do my gym work. So that is how a bonsai person spends his time. Look at it. Look at all those shoots. Look at those long shoots. They all have to be dealt with. So the same thing again. Let's look at the one on the extreme here. The sun's shining nicely. It's quite low. So you can see that long shoot. This was last year's candle which has grown. And those 3 are this year's candles which have become like 2 inches long. So what do? I will prune that out, like so. So I've got it growing out. Now those 2, if I don't want them to keep getting long, I prune half of that off, and I leave that one. So I go through the entire tree, analyzing all these long shoots. So where they come out of the outline, I can clearly see where I'm going. So happy pruning. And then I have a Scotch pine here. Scots pines are much easier to handle. This is one I grew from a very young plant, maybe 20-30 years ago, 1-year-old seedling, grown in the ground first and then potted up for the last 15 years. And that one must be about 28 or 35 inches across. And all these new shoots here, oh, lovely sunlight, can you see? That is the candle from this year, that's candle from this year, these are all candles from this year. So with Scots pine you can prune with impunity. Again, you can do that principle, or you can just prune these new candles in half. Just prune them in half and you will get bud back. Scots pine much easier to handle, much easier to handle. So just by doing that you will control the growth and you will get much tighter bud formation and a tighter structure all over. So Scots pine is much easier. It's like just doing your hedge. Nothing sophisticated. Look at those long shoots there. Look at that. It's very, very long. So if I, in this case, I will just prune half of it. That prune half of it, and that's kept that in check. So what a lovely way to spend the evening. We've had a lot of rain the last few days. The skies are still grey, but it's going to be hot the next 4 or 5 days with no rain. Everything looking nice and green. So enjoy it.